We're checking out two docks from iVANKY. I don't know how you say it, but there we go. That is the company just here. And these are the two docks that we have here. We've got like a budget-friendly one and a not so budget-friendly one. So let's check out the first one first. And this one, the budget-friendly dock, is the gaming dock USB-C, and this dock comes in at just £32 with free shipping to most countries, they specify. And it actually has an extra $10 or £8 off currently, which brings us down to just £24.11. That is crazy cheap. So on the box itself, we get a Steam Deck on the side of it, and we get an Z1E Ally just there as well, but this will basically work with any handheld. And let's crack it out and see what we get inside, shall we? So it's a pretty simple unboxing. We do get some rubber complimentary thumbstick caps, and then we get an FAQ as well as the manual just there. And finally, we get the dock itself. Whooping. Now, when I first started looking at these, the first thing that immediately struck out to me was this is the budget one, right? And it is solid metal. The actual entire thing is metal, right? So this thing is like bulletproof. It's absolutely bulletproof. There's like no flex in it whatsoever. If I grip that, look, I'm gripping that as hard as I can. There is zero flex in that whatsoever. It is just solid, like absolutely solid. The only thing immediately that I kind of disliked was this. The cable is not detachable. If this cable was detachable, they would have just absolutely won. But, you know, you've got to have some sort of downside, right? And I always have to give the negatives, and that's basically the only negative here, really, for the price point. So we've got a solid metal construction, and the thing that I really like about it, again, which stood out to me, was look how big this area is. Like, that is a big area. And what that means is that it's going to fit basically any handheld. And they've even kicked back this piece on the top just there so that you can lean it in. It's not one of those like form-fitting ones where it only fits the Steam Deck or only fits the Ally or whatever. And we all know that the Ally Extras here is a chonky boy compared to the original Ally, right? So some docks weren't fitting right, and I was having to stand my Ally X in front of the dock and then like reach it around like this. That was so annoying. Like, that was so annoying, but not with this. Look at that. Like, even sat in there, you can still see that I've got like more than a finger's width gap. I can get my thumb in there. Like, I can just thumb it right in. And yeah, it fits. So that is really good. And it's got grip all over it. So I'm pushing that. Yeah, okay, the camera is shaking like mad, but the Ally X is not moving inside this because it is just completely covered in rubber. You've got a massive rubber piece just there for anti-slip, massive piece just there rubber for more anti-slip, and the base has got these anti-slip like pads on the bottom. So this is just an all-around like bomb-proof freaking dock. Like, it really is. Like, most docks are like plastic, or they're like, I don't know, they always just feel a bit cheap. When I first opened this, I thought this was the expensive one. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was like, oh, I know there's an expensive one and a cheap one. I was like, this has got to be the expensive one, right? Nope, this is the cheap one. And immediately just the build quality of this thing has really blown me away for a simple budget dock that looks classy. There's like, you know, just this tiny touch of branding on the front, and then the rest of it is this like almost like steel blue color. Like, it's like an, I don't know, it could just be my eyes. It is grey, but it's almost got like a hint of blue in it. It's really nice. It's like this gunmetal-y blue color. I love it. Really, really cool. Let's just focus on this cable for a second, because again, the Ally X is a bit troublesome for some of the older docks because the ports are right over. So that USB 4 port, right over. I can plug that in still, right? Without having to shift the Ally X like right onto the side of it. I can have this centered in the middle, and I'm still going to be able to plug that cable in because there's just enough reach, and it's not even like super uber tight. And we've got a right angled connector on the end. And also on my case just here on my Ally X, I've got the Skull & Co grip case. So it is protruding a bit more. I've got more plastic than it just like, you know, the actual device. And despite that, I can still plug this in with no worries. I've been using this dock and testing it, and it works absolutely fine. So we've seen that, but let's go over the specs of it, right? So bear in mind, this is budget. This is a budget dock. So I wasn't expecting too much from that. You don't really get a lot out of it either, but what do you really need? Honestly, like an HDMI, an Ethernet, a few USB ports, and power delivery in. And jobs are good, right? So you've got 3 USB-A ports just here. So 5 gigabits just there, USB, USB, USB. So 3 USB-A 3.0s, okay? We've got 100 watt in. So this is power delivery in, 100 watts, which is awesome. And then we've got HDMI 2.1. So this does have support for 4K 120. Not that any handheld on the market at all is going to hit that. But, you know, you've got 4K 120. And then we've got a gigabit LAN, you know, just here. So RJ45, Ethernet port, whatever. So yeah, gigabit just there. It's everything you need, honestly. Like you got 3 ports just there. What more do you want? You can have a mouse, a keyboard, and a controller dongle in there, and away you go. Like, you know, whatever you want. And obviously you could even just plug in like an extra USB hub or something if you really desperately wanted it. But for a super basic plug in and go like dock, where this is just plugged into your TV or your monitor or something, there's nothing wrong with this at all. For what did I say it was? Like £24 on offer with that discount code that they're offering. Like I honestly expected a lot more, like, you know, in terms of price. I expected more in terms of price because I've seen other docks that are way worse build quality that have been way more expensive. I love how much space there is. I think it's really clean design. I like the angle that it sits at. You've got an extra long cable, so it's going to fit into something like the Ally X where it's even more reach. You've got all the sort of necessary inputs that you need, really, and it's solid metal. This thing is metal. I can't stress enough. I really like this one, as you can probably tell. So coming in at £103, basically more than 3 times the price of the other one. The benefit, I suppose, is it also has free shipping to most countries. They've specified that, so I can't tell you which countries do not have free shipping, but you can find that out on the website. But there is a big but, because this has a whopping $50 off at the minute, or that translates to £40 discount, which is currently on their website, which then brings this down to £63.50, down from that £103, right? That's a big discount. It's almost half price. Let's take a look at what's inside the box. So we do get an FAQ, an instruction manual, plug it in, play games, you're done. Right? You get the dock itself, and you get in here more of these. Get the thumbstick caps, the white and the black ones just there. Cool. And this time, look at this. This is what I want. This is what I want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. So we know that this has a detachable cable, which is great. It's very stiff. Like these cables are really stiff, but it's braided, same as the other one. That's cool. And that's basically everything you get inside here until you get the dock out. Ka-ching, like this. And my first impressions was, I took it out and I was like, wow, it's not metal. This one's plastic. So yeah, this is the more expensive one by like full RRP, like more than 3 times the price of the other one. And it's plastic, not metal. So I was a bit surprised by that because I was fully expecting the more expensive one to be solid metal since I experienced the metal one first, but it's not. It is plastic. It is larger as well. Let's just do a quick showdown just here. So you can see like it's just a bigger space that it's going to take up. It's a bit slimmer, like, you know, not as tall. And yeah, you can just kind of see this way around what we're dealing with just here. But yeah, there we go. So on the bottom, we've got really, really big amount of rubber like standoff just there. So once your device is in it, it's going to sit down and not move, just like the other one, right? We get a button on the top, which is for your RGB LED lighting, which we'll check out in a minute. All the ports on the back, which we'll come back to. You can see this kind of frosted piece all the way around the base just here. And this is where your RGB LED lighting is going to be all the way around. You've got the name on the front just there, which is more obvious than on the last one where it was black and a bit more subtle. This one's like, bang! There you go. This on the top, which is like this big, hefty rubber piece. And this is hiding the area that you're going to drop your device into, right? So it kind of eases out like so and then lifts up. So you can either have this like this, or they show it like that as well. But it kind of doesn't make too much sense to me because surely you want that like big rubber pad touching your device and like protecting it, and not just this tiny little lip like touching your device. But okay, like fine. Like you're not just going to be up against this harsh plastic just here, but I just found that a little bit strange. Like I thought it'd like ease out so that it like did this, but the other way around. Do you know what I mean? So your device would be sat on this, but that's not the case. So you either lie it up against here, like this, right? So you pop it in like that, and then it's just the edge touching the back edge just there, right? Or you can have it so that this is just floating, like, you know, and then it doesn't really touch anyway, to be perfectly honest. The only way it will touch the back is if you have it straight up, at least on my Ally X, and then it just falls forward. We've got these bits here as well, which are the rubber feet just here, which again, I was a little bit surprised that they didn't just go for the like full bore, like, you know, all the way across rubber, because this is like super grippy rubber on the cheap one. They've just got a couple of little pads just on the front there. Like granted, they're probably a bit thicker, but there's just 2 touch points just there. So your whole device is going to be sat on those 2 touch points. And also it's not as wide. So you've got less room to deal with on this one. This one's a bit deceiving because of the lighting and it's casting a shadow, right? But this is a larger gap than that just there. But despite that, you know, you're still going to get all your devices in. The Ally X has plenty of room. I can wiggle that backlit and it reveals probably another 5mm just there, maybe a centimeter, you know, well, just less. Yeah, 5mm, right? So gap in the front on terms of the base at least, and then it like widens out at the top. And then when you're done with it, you can flip that down, chuck it in your bag or something, and it takes up less room than that one in terms of like this piece, right? But yeah, so you've got those options just there, and that's basically it. Let's go over what this has. So on the side, we've got a USB 2.0, USB-A, right? So just a retro 2.0. I think we can class 2.0 as retro now, right? So yeah, that's just for like old school mice or like, you know, receivers and stuff. On this side, we've got TF and SD card slot readers, which are 4.0. So they're actually quick ones, because a lot of docks, they just put like old ones in, right? And then they're really slow to transfer, and I've found that. I'm like, yeah, let's try transferring some files, and they're like, you're just waiting around. This is like 300 megabytes per second or something, which is pretty cool. And obviously we've got way more IO on the back of this one. So we've got a 3.5mm, you know, headphone jack just here. We've got the PC, which is actually this. So it's what this is for. So you just click it in. And I love this because if this breaks, you throw it away and get a new one. It's just any old USB-C cable, right? That's gonna be capable of at least passing through like 65 watts. So you could just replace this, which is wicked. You've then got this one, which is your 100-watt input power display? What am I on about? Power delivery, that's what I'm talking about. Power delivery in just there. We've got 2 USB 3.0s just there, 5 gigabits. We've got an HDMI 2.1, which again is 4K 120 max. Again, not that you're ever going to be using that with a handheld, but you know, it sounds good on paper. And then you've got a USB-C 3.2 just there at 10 gigabits. And then you've got a USB-A 3.2 at 10 gigabits. And then you got a 1 gigabit LAN, Ethernet, RJ45, whatever you want to call it, just there as well. So that's for your interwebs. And that's pretty much all of it, other than, of course, we've got the RGB LED. Boom! Like, they are on. And if I turn this over, like, it's just party for days, right? It's party time. It does look good. Like, when it's on the side, it looks good. For me, I find it incredibly distracting, because usually I want to look at the screen. But yeah, that's just me. And if you're like me and you don't want it, you can turn it off with the button. But if you do like it, well, then you've got some options as well. So that's one thing to note. You can't press the button when that is down. You have to like lift that up to see the button. You can press it to turn it off, and that's it, like on or off. But if you press and hold, then it's going to go to a color, and then you can cycle through various colors just here until you find the color that you want. And I think that's less distracting. I'd much rather just have a solid color here than having the like rainbow effect, but it just cycles through until it goes to off, right? And then you can press and hold, and it will go back to crazy RGB LED, and then you can just toggle it on and off with that button just like that. So overall, at the discounted price, I think this has got relatively good IO. I mean, I would have liked to have seen like this dead space here maybe being a display port, or maybe being like more USB, like maybe another 2 USB-Cs or something. But you know, it's got enough. And like I said, you can also add like a USB hub or something through as well, especially on that USB-C just there, the 3.2 just there. But yeah, this has got a lot that if you're doing some productivity stuff, this could be the dock for you as well. Obviously, if you want to play games and stuff, then that's cool. But there is a negative that I've got to bring up because everyone's going to ask it, is do they have VRR? And the answer is no. Neither of them have VRR, not even the more expensive one. But the thing that I was going to bring up, which is kind of alluded to in the frequently asked questions, is why does my dock only provide 25 watts? You know, basically the age-old saying. If you use the 65 watt charger that comes with your Ally, I'm just taking the Ally X for example, right? It comes with a 65 watt charger. And when you plug it in, the Ally X can go up to 30 watts, right? So right now, it turbos out at 25 watts because I've not got it plugged in. But if I plug it in, it then can boost up to 30, right? It can go up to 30 watts. But when people are docking it, they're using the 65 watt charger into the dock, and then they're not getting 30 watts, and it's just not enough power to power that dock and the device itself, the Ally, for example. So what you need to use is a 100 watt charger to then be able to boost up to that 30 watt maximum, right? I've tested both of these with 100 watt chargers and they both show 30 watts on mine, but my Ally is fully up to date. So everything's up to date on my Ally. Windows is up to date, Armoury Crate and all that good stuff is up to date. So it will show 30 watts maximum when using these with a 100 watt charger, but that is like the main thing. And that's pretty much it. So do I recommend these products? I mean, for me personally, if I was going to buy one, I would totally root for the cheap one. Like solid metal, man. Like this thing is a absolute powerhouse. Like it really, really is. You've got basic selection on the back there, but everything that you need really, and a really wide bore like slot just there for this to fit in. I really like the design of this. Like for the price point, this is really, really good. The only downside is this, right? That's the only downside. This one, obviously at full price, is a bit more of a stretch, but without $50 off or £40 off, this makes it more reachable. If you really want to have, you know, the TF and SD card readers, the extra IO, the 3.2 connections and a USB and stuff, but these have both got HDMI 2.1s, you know, so they're both going to be giving you like the maximum out, which is pretty cool. The other benefit of this is obviously the detachable cable, the adjustable stand, and the RGB LED lighting. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Do you like both of these? Have you used one before? Are you looking to get a budget one or a more expensive dock? I'd love to know everything about you. Where do you live? What do you do? I don't know what I'm talking about. When you're down there somewhere, like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you can talk to me and AJ over in our private Discord. And talking about Discord members, I don't know what I'm talking about. Talking about AJ, right? Check out his videos on the channel as well as our podcast. Oh my days, I've lost it in this video. Bye.